am the servant of the Quran as long as I live. I am the dust on the path of Muhammad, the chosen one. If anyone quotes anything except this from my sayings, I disassociate myself from him and am outraged by those words. The exalted Mevlana, the Sultan of the hearts, the sovereign beatitude, the spiritual soldier to whom was revealed the meaning of the hadith, scholars are the successors of the prophets. He is the sun of reality who shines over mankind and whose light we are now more in need of than ever. The exalted Mevlana felt love as he wrote, "It left nothing of myself in me." This understanding developed true freedom, which inspired waves of love-based teachings to mankind. The Mevlevi sect was established by Sultan Veled, son of Mevlana, on the basis of decency, and in accordance with the teachings of the exalted Mevlana, saying, "The entire meaning of the Holy Quran comes down to decency." This sect has invited humanity to partake of goodness, truth, love, and tolerance, and in short, to morality. Wise and mature sheikhs, who have led the dervish order over many centuries, have established perfectly the places, principles, and behaviors to help humanity attain this goal. In the lodges of the Mevlevi dervishes, many artists, illuminators, bookbinders, miniaturists, poets and calligraphers of the age, and eminent composers and singers of Turkish music receive theoretical and practical training, along with the decorum of Sufism. In some respects, these institutions were on the same level as the faculties of present-day fine arts conservatories. With Konya as its center, the Mevlevi sect flourished, especially in Anatolia, the Balkans, Cyprus, the Arabian Peninsula, and North Africa, and many statesmen, scholars, and artists were among its members. The Mevlevi became the source of inspiration and incentive, and the driving force in the creation of innumerable scientific inventions and works of art, representing the whole of Islamic civilization. Members of the Mevlevi sect can be classified into three groups. Members of the Mevlevi sect can be classified into three groups. Those who earn the title of Dede, a senior dervish, by Çile, a religious retreat. Those who fulfill the obligations of a dervish by following the customs of the Mevlevi sect, but without having gone through Çile. And the Muhibs, or friends, those who learn from the teachings of Mevlana by attending dervish lodges, but who are not Dedes or dervishes. The word Çile is a Sufi term derived from the Persian number 40, meaning to undergo a 40-day period of praying in solitude in a pure and quiet place, while minimizing food, drink, and sleep. In various sects, the dervishes undergo a period of Çile in small chambers called Çilehane, a place of religious retreat, or Halvethane, a place of seclusion. This practice is based upon the verse in the Quran indicating that the Prophet Moses prayed on Mount Sinai for 40 nights for divine inspiration, expounded by the Prophet Muhammad, who said, "The tongue of a person who spends 40 days for Allah in intimacy is nourished with springs of wisdom." In the Mevlevi sect, Chile is to work in 18 different services for a period of 1,001 days in accordance with the Mevlevi system. The period of Chile refers to the total number of days that the exalted Mevlana spent in halvet, solitude, during his lifetime. The 1,001 days correspond to the 1,001 names of Allah. The objective of Chile is to gain compliance. The word riza means consent, compliance, and when calculated according to the Ebjed, the Arabic system of numerology, its sum is 1,001. The place of Chilekesh, long-suffering, where one undergoes the period of Chile to eliminate worldly concerns, is the Matbah Sharif, the kitchen, and no one but the Chilekesh and the Tekke Zabit, the dervish lodge officers, can enter. Along with the Konya Asithane, which is the center of the Mevlevi sect, Chile is carried out in the Mevlevi Hane lodges in Afyon, Kütahya, Galata, Yenikapı, Aleppo, and Cairo. These institutions consist of a Matbah Sharif, a Sema Hane, the place to perform ritual movement, a masjid or small mosque, a selamlik or gentleman's apartment, a harem, wives or women's quarters, dervish chambers, tombs, and the hamushan or burial ground. The one seeking decency by heeding the words of the exalted Pir, Mevlana, come closer, even closer and closer. The ones who believe that bitterness will turn to sweetness and sickness to health with love. The ones who take their troubles to heart, never considering a moment spent without love. These have become the links of decency and love that comprise the chain of this sect. They pray, "O my Lord, opener of doors, please open auspicious doors for me as well," while at the door, they bow their heads. The door to which admission is given is the Mevlana Dergah, the dervish lodge, which is the Kaaba of the lovers. One enters in order to purify oneself, to obtain a clear conscience, and reach maturity. It is the place where sicknesses of the heart are cured and weakness is eradicated. O tongue, if you want to leave behind your weakness, come under the sikke, the tall felt hat of Mevlana the Exalted. The Nev Niyaz, or novice dervish, wishing to undergo Chile, sits for 3 days on the Saka pelt, a skin mat in the kitchen, also known as the place of Nev Niyaz. If he carries out the services and endures what is asked of him, being disregarded as if he were not there, and agrees to join the Sufi way, he is taken at the end of the 3 days before the cook, Dede, to receive his admission. In the Mevlevi sect, there is an understanding of an acknowledgement of the intimate circle of loyalty. To go back on this acknowledgement is unacceptable. The Jan, or brother, who has completed the 18-day duty of errand boy, is given an arakiye, a mohair cap, kitchen tennure, white religious robes with long skirts, and an elifi nemet, a wide belt made of felt, and the instruction of the cook Dede. Dressed in dervish costume, and having laid aside his ordinary clothes, the Jan is taken to the stoker Dede. The Jan performs 18 services, starting from errand boy to various services such as lamp tender, sweeper, shopper, dishwasher, latrine cleaner, and washman under the charge of the stoker Dede, his spiritual teacher for 1,001 days. He is educated about the history of the sect. He is taught Persian and reads the required books along with the Mesnawi. According to his skill, he is trained in calligraphy, music, gilding, poetry, and the practice of Sema, or ritual movement. At the end of the 1,001-day period spent doing the 18 different services, the Jan enters into the lodge's Meydan, an area where the Sema is performed. Here he meets the Dedes, followed by the Ser Tariq, or Sheikh. Later on, the Jan enters the kitchen and prays. He recites a short prayer, the Ser Tariq Gülbank. After this ceremony, the Jan is confined to his chamber for 3 days and is then taken to the head Dede by the Dede who oversees the Meydan. He is dressed in a long-sleeved dervish garment called a hırka, a vest known as a destegül, and a tall hat known as a sikke. The hırka represents the burial shroud, the vest a sepulchre, and the sikke a tombstone. In this way, the Mevlevi dervishes experience the secret of dying before you die. In this way, the Mevlevi dervishes experience the secret of dying before you die. That is, whereas they came to the lodge in a raw state, they are cooked and burned in the kitchen of the dergah. After the 18 days of Chile, he completes his service by practicing the evrad, Quranic prayers that are recited daily, and religious songs known as the ezkar, taught by the Ser Tariq and the Çelebi Efendi. He then receives the title of Dede and becomes the owner of the chamber. The Mevlevi teachers, bearers of true love and knowing the secret of love, bring about a sublime revolution in the hearts of their followers, and with their penetrating gazes and as fountains of spiritual consciousness, practically transform dirt into gold. The Mevlevis, having only faqr, meaning poverty toward Allah, and need no one else but Him, become scornful of the world and make do with less. Instead, they are concerned with their cleanliness and integrity, their spiritual growth and maturity, and their intellect, and their social lives are affected deeply. A dervish is a person who purifies himself of the love of the world, hypocrisy, worldliness, falsehood, and lust. These are symbolized by the Arabic letters Dal, Ra, Vav, Ye, and Shin, which spell dervish. Here, these dervish semazans, the whirling dervishes, start the Sema by tilting their heads moodily as if reaching out for reality and giving thanks for what they receive from Allah.